Aloha everyone. I want to give you a quick update from Maui a few days after the storm has passed. The worst is definitely behind us. So I want to get the drone up in the air and I'm going to show you some more of the damage that was caused by the storm. But if you follow my channel, you know I like to keep things factual and balanced. So we're also going to be taking a look at some of the areas that have already been cleaned up. Let's go take a look.
We're going to start the video on the far south end of Kihei and work our way to the north. The storm damage does intensify the further north we go, and we will see a property that actually fell into the ocean towards the end of the video. But this first clip is of a sinkhole on South Kihei Road that I first reported on Saturday. As you can see, equipment is already on site to start the repairs. Now this area is considered South Kihei, and the two short-term rental condos that would be most impacted by this road damage are Kihei Akahi and Maui Banyan. However, I personally walked this entire stretch of South Kihei Road myself, and all the businesses and short-term rental condos are accessible. Okay, from here we're going to jump ahead to central Kihei. This is an area known as the Cove, and it did get flooded during the storm. But as you can see for yourself, the road is already cleaned and open to normal traffic. It is important that I make it clear that most of South and Central Kihei and almost all of Wailea did not receive substantial damage. So if you have a trip planned to Maui in the next week, odds are the property that you're staying at is perfectly fine. Just make sure to check directly with the property before making any decisions to cancel your trip. That being said, the forecast does call for a few more days of cloudy and rainy weather. But it won't be nearly as intense as this last storm, and it's just a matter of time before we're back to perfect weather on Maui that we experience almost every single day. By the way, if you want to stay informed on what is happening here on Maui in real time, the easiest way to do that is to follow me on either Facebook or Instagram. I'll drop links to both accounts in the description, just in case you want to follow for more updates from Maui. Okay, now we're going to jump ahead again to North Kihei, which was hit hardest by the flooding. Right now, we're flying past the Azeka Shopping Center and the McDonald's building. You will see that this area is still in the process of cleaning up, but it is much better than when I recorded my first drone update right after the storm. While some of the property and infrastructure damage from the storm is hard to see, the good news is that we can report that there was not any loss of life and only 2 serious injuries reported on the entire island. I have had a lot of people reaching out to ask me if it's still okay to come vacation on Maui right after this storm. And while the storm did have a strong impact on a few areas within the island, this is nowhere near the devastation compared to the Lahaina fire in 2023, where more than 100 people died and thousands of people lost their home. So yes, it's definitely okay to still come and visit Maui. If anything, Maui could use your support now more than ever, as our tourism-based economy has seen a downturn from all the negative press created by that Lahaina fire. On the left-hand side of the screen, you can see that we're now coming up on the Maui Sunset condominium complex. And this is the start of a long stretch of short-term rental condos here in North Kihei. By the way, I will be providing timestamps in the description of all the key landmarks that we fly over in this video. The condo community with the red roofs on the left-hand side of the screen is Luana Kai. Notice that local traffic is still flowing in this area with a few cars on the road. But this is also where we're going to start to see how big of a project it has been to clean up. We see several piles of dirt being moved by large equipment. And not to make light of the situation, but this kind of reminds me of what it looks like after a huge snowstorm in colder climates. But instead of plows with snowbanks, we have piles of mud banks. The building that we're passing on the left-hand side of the screen now is Kauhali Makai, also known as Village by the Sea. Have you ever noticed that most news sources only cover the destruction of an event like this and not the recovery? Well, I do my best to provide balanced and factual updates on some of Maui's most important and controversial topics. So if you appreciate the time and energy it takes to produce these videos, don't forget to hit the like button for me. And subscribe for future updates as things return to normal here on Maui. The smaller properties on the right-hand side of the screen are part of the Koa Resort Condo Complex, and the rectangular building on the ocean side of South Kihei Road is Koa Lagoon. Just past that, the horseshoe-shaped building on the ocean side is Menehune Shores. And now coming up on the right-hand side is Kihei Resort. The next group of buildings with brown roofs and solar panels is Kihei Bay Surf. And coming up on the left, where you see a lot of large equipment, this is where the Humpback Whale National Marine Sanctuary Visitor Center is for the Hawaiian Islands. The buildings with the darker roofs on the right-hand side are Kihei Bay Vista. This is an area where we're going to start to see more of South Kihei Road undermined and washed out. But in this video, we do see a few vehicles that are still moving through this portion of South Kihei Road. For point of reference, the buildings coming up on the mountain side of the road are part of the newly constructed Hilton Grand Vacations Club at Maui Bay Villas. From here, we're going to jump ahead to the far north end of Kihei, which appears to have received the most substantial damage from the storm. Right away here, we see another section of South Kihei Road that has collapsed. On the right-hand side of the screen, we're flying past the location of an ABC store and a very popular shaved ice stand as well. On the left-hand side of the screen, we're coming up on Kihei Beach condominiums. The beach along the coastline here is Sugar Beach, which is known as the longest continuous stretch of walkable sand on the entire island. And it is this area where one of the smaller condo complexes was severely damaged and has collapsed into the ocean after the storm. We'll see a close-up shot of that building from a different angle in just a few seconds. But the buildings we're seeing on the left-hand side of the screen right now is the Ma'alaya Surf Condo Complex, which is directly adjacent to the property that fell into the ocean. We're now flying past the intersection of South Kihei Road and North Kihei Road. And from here, the road is completely clear in both directions. Earlier this week, I actually drove all the way from the south end of Wailea all the way up to the west side in Kaanapali, and had zero issues with the road the entire way. We're now coming up on the Sugar Beach condos on the left-hand side. And the last building on this stretch of beach is the Kealia Resort. Now we're going to jump over to the ocean side of this particular stretch of Sugar Beach. This is the washed out and collapsed building that you saw at the intro of this video. The condo complex is called Kihei Kai. As you can see, it is a post and pier wooden building that is comprised of condos that allow short-term rentals. Built in 1979, the property had received significant damage from a previous storm. Owners were in the process of completing repairs, but unfortunately, this storm proved to be too much for the structure to handle. Now, you're probably wondering how well the other buildings on this particular stretch of Sugar Beach survived the big storm. Well, let me show you. The first building we pass here on the left is the Kealia Resort condos, and just past that is the Sugar Beach Resort. There's definitely damage in certain areas, and it's important to see that clearly. But it's also important to understand that much of Maui is still fully functioning, open, and moving forward. Both of those things can be true at the same time. Storms like this can look overwhelming in the moment, especially from the air. But if you pay any attention to Maui, you know that this island has been through a lot, and it always finds a way to recover. And to me, that's the most interesting part of the story. Of course, I'll keep everyone posted on the recovery from this storm, as well as updates on the recovery from the Lahaina wildfire and some of the more controversial politics that are evolving on the island. So make sure you're subscribed to the channel and feel free to share this video with anyone else you know who would be interested in seeing what's going on here on Maui. I hope to see you all on the next video. Aloha.